September 11th, 2001, a day that changed the world forever. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost, and a new era of fear and vigilance began. But who was behind this devastating attack? Today we uncover the story of the man who orchestrated 9/11, Osama Bin Laden.
Introduction of Osama Bin Laden.
To understand how 9/11 came to be, we first need to understand Osama Bin Laden himself. Born in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in 1957, Bin Laden came from a wealthy family with deep connections in Saudi society. But unlike most from his background, he chose a radically different path. In this video, we'll explore how Osama Bin Laden, once a quiet and studious young man, turned into the world's most wanted terrorist. Join us as we trace the steps that led him to plan and execute the attacks on September 11th, 2001.
Osama bin Laden's early radicalization and involvement in the Afghan-Soviet War.
Bin Laden's radicalization began in the 1980s during the Soviet-Afghan War. He joined the fight against Soviet forces, believing that defending Afghanistan was a sacred duty. This experience was transformative for Bin Laden. In Afghanistan, he developed a vision of uniting Muslims in a holy war against foreign occupiers. After the Soviets withdrew, Bin Laden returned to Saudi Arabia as a hero. But his views were growing more extreme, especially when he saw American troops stationed in the Middle East during the Gulf War. He began to see the U.S. as a new enemy, an occupier of Muslim lands.
Bin Laden establishing Al-Qaeda.
Driven by his growing hatred of U.S. influence in the Middle East, Bin Laden founded Al-Qaeda in 1988. Al-Qaeda wasn't just a military group. It was a network of like-minded fighters, an organization built to carry out Bin Laden's vision of jihad against the West. And over the next decade, Al-Qaeda would carry out a series of increasingly deadly attacks. From attacks on U.S. embassies in Africa to the USS Cole bombing in Yemen, Bin Laden was sending a clear message. He wanted to drive the U.S. out of the Middle East by any means necessary. But these attacks were just a prelude to what he was planning next.
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and Bin Laden's close allies and training camps.
The idea for September 11th was sparked by Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, a key Al-Qaeda operative who suggested an ambitious, coordinated attack on American soil. Bin Laden saw this plan as a way to strike at the very heart of the United States. But pulling it off would take years of careful preparation, secrecy, and ruthless dedication. To prepare for an attack of this scale, Al-Qaeda set up a network of training camps in Afghanistan. Recruits from around the world were trained in everything from hand-to-hand combat to evading surveillance. And among these recruits were 19 men who would soon become the hijackers.
Hijackers and their journey to the U.S., highlighting their training.
The selected hijackers were carefully trained not only in combat, but in blending into Western society. Many of them learned how to fly commercial airliners, and some entered the U.S. under the guise of students or tourists. They moved to American cities, living among ordinary people as they finalized the details of the attack. These operatives lived in cities like Miami, Phoenix, and San Diego, waiting and preparing. They communicated with Al-Qaeda leaders through coded messages, making sure to keep the plan hidden from any intelligence agencies.
Preparations for September 11th, wire transfers, coded messages, and final meetings.
As the final date approached, Bin Laden's team ensured everything was in place. Funds were transferred, travel arrangements were made, and last-minute instructions were sent to the hijackers. Every detail had been rehearsed: the date, the flight numbers, even the timing of the attacks. Bin Laden's plan was precise and ruthless. The hijackers would target symbolic buildings representing America's military and economic power. The Twin Towers in New York, the Pentagon, and a final target in Washington, D.C., likely the White House or the Capitol. On the morning of September 11th, 2001, the hijackers boarded 4 flights: American Airlines Flight 11, United Airlines Flight 175, American Airlines Flight 77, and United Airlines Flight 93. Within minutes after takeoff, they seized control, directing the planes toward their targets. What followed was a tragedy that left a permanent mark on history. The Twin Towers fell, the Pentagon was struck, and passengers on Flight 93 heroically fought back, preventing an even greater disaster. The impact of September 11th was immediate and far-reaching. The United States launched the war on terror, and Osama bin Laden became the world's most wanted man. But despite the manhunt, bin Laden would remain hidden for nearly a decade, evading capture in Pakistan before finally being found in 2011. Bin Laden's actions on September 11th changed the world in ways that are still being felt today, from airport security to international relations and the U.S. presence in the Middle East. The cost of his war against America was borne by innocent lives, and its effects continue to ripple through history. Thank you all for watching this important story. If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated on more videos like this one. And in honor of those who lost their lives on September 11th, we encourage you to take a moment of reflection.